I bought the cheapest and the most expensive pit bikes from TEMU because they actually look pretty good, but the listings have very little details on what these bikes actually are, to the point where I thought they might actually be the same, just priced $300 differently. I've never bought anything from TEMU before. The whole app kind of seems like a scam, but I'm just gonna go for it. And if I get two of the same bikes and one of them significantly cheaper, then at least I have some good information to contribute to the motorcycle community. But the only thing I knew for sure before they arrived at my front door is they are both 110 cc's and one of them has an automatic transmission. Today I'm gonna build both, put them to the test, and let you know which one is worth the extra. I also bought a money gun and a bunch of fake money from TEMU because why not? Before I even got the plastic off these bikes, I learned more than was in the TEMU description. You can see here that the cheaper bike has 10-inch wheels, while the more expensive one has a 14 in the front and a 12 in the rear. That is quite a big difference. I imagine the 14 is going to be much better for an adult using a pit bike like myself. Maybe this is fine if you're buying this bike for your kid, or if you are a kid, well, okay. Well, this was the cheaper one, so I guess that is already an upgrade that you get with the more expensive bike that I didn't know about. I buy a bunch of cheap motorcycles and crazy things from Alibaba and whatever on this channel, and the packaging here is pretty standard. Steel crate, front tire, handlebars off. I really wouldn't be worried about any of this getting damaged in shipping, and the shipping was free. So we're looking at a $700 bike and a $1,000 bike, which is pretty dang wild, because to ship these things was probably a couple $100 on its own. Wow, this thing looks pretty nice. Much more quality than expected for $700, wow. When I peeled off the tape revealing the decals, this is the first time I actually saw the brand because it wasn't listed on TEMU. So I went directly to their website and I was surprised they actually make electric dirt bikes. I realized they have a bunch of different bikes that seem to be intended for children. And also, the X1 was a bit more expensive than it was on Alibaba, but the X2 was actually quite a bit cheaper. And this too has free shipping and a full description list of everything you get. I was also excited to see here that there are spare parts for sale on this website because there isn't anything on TEMU. And check this out, they actually make a 250. So comment that you subscribed if you want to see me do a video on this. Handlebar pads, some grease, foot pegs, and the manual. What? Came with a title. No way. The further I got into setting up the cheaper bike, the more I realized this is a children's bike. Something equivalent to like a 50cc Yamaha size situation, but with a lot more power, I think, that's for sure. This bolt for the suspension is really the only thing that needs to be greased, and it came with a huge pack, so you definitely have enough to last you in maintenance for a long time. The number plate went on super easy, and it was designed pretty well to help hide all of these cables and wires. This is an electric start, haven't talked about that yet. Another impressive feature for something so inexpensive. But the foot pegs on this bad girl are not gonna last. I'm calling it right now. They have one piece of steel going to where it connects. The first rock I hit, that's just gonna bend straight back. The seat removes just like it would on any bigger bike, and the battery is right back there. This does have a key, which is kind of weird for a non-road legal dirt bike. It's always funny to see with these Chinese built bikes the added level of security. Like my insanely fast Alibaba electric bike that I did a video on has an alarm, and it's not even road legal. Yeah, it's definitely small, but that does not mean that it won't be fun. But for now, let's pull this one to the side and get started on the bigger bike, the X2. The $700 bike looks incredible for the price, but it does seem a bit small for someone who's 6 foot tall. Where this one does seem like it's going to be a bit bigger. I can tell already. Bigger tires, bigger triple clamps, same exact frame I'm gonna guess, but we're about to find out. The goodie bag on the more expensive bike has a shifter, very cool. And most everything else seems the same except for some bigger handlebar adapters. I'll do the side by side when this is fully built, but look how much bigger the forks are. The rear wheel and tire, even bigger than on the Razor right here. And this is my modified setup with the inverted forks. And you can see these look even bigger than those, which is not what I was expecting. I think this bike is gonna be quite the machine. And then it came with bigger handlebars as well. But I'm pretty tall, so I'm gonna even throw bigger handlebars on there. You can see this little bike has an actual VIN tag and came with an actual bill of sale, certificate of origin type deal. I'm gonna go to the DMV and see if I can get this road legal because I'm working on my other bike getting it road legal, and might as well ask while I'm there because if this little guy's as cool as I think it's going to be, I'm gonna make a sick supermoto out of it in a future video. Everyone except for past me has probably realized what I've done wrong here. I've put the brakes and the grips, everything back on without putting on the cross support. If there's something I've learned is that is super necessary. Come down from some wheelies straight into the pavement before and bent those bars, so had to redo that all. Putting on and off grips isn't my favorite thing, but it is what it is. We just have a couple more stickers to peel off. Gotta throw the pegs on, then we're gonna put some gas in these things and see how they do. Gonna take it out to the local single track. We got a little bit of snow, but these actually look like pretty good tires, so I think we are going to do just fine. Put these bikes on the limit and see what they can do. And the timing is perfect because I gotta get these out of the garage so I can build the bike for my next video. That just came in. So if you guys want to see some more bike buying and testing, make sure you subscribe because there's about to be a lot of it over the next couple months on this channel. The only problem I've seen with this so far, it's kind of weird. Maybe that doesn't clear the case quite, but they put the threaded side on this side, and you can tell that's just welded there. I wonder if they welded it on the wrong side. Normally you'd want the nut going in this way, so if it was loose, it would have gravity on its side. This seems like something that could maybe fall out over time if you didn't keep an eye on it. But I think just gonna throw this on, ba-doom, a little bit of that, and then we're gonna hit the trails. Starting off around Ethan's rally track and then taking it up my favorite gnarly single track to see if we can't summit this mountain and get a lake view. The guys haven't seen my little pit bike yet, so I brought it up here to get their reactions. They have no idea how cheap it was. Now, I had no idea that the price had gone down to just over $700. Ethan is a bit of a motorcycle connoisseur. He bought 5 in the last 2 years. He doesn't have any pit bikes, but I think he's gonna be very impressed with this by the price. Do you guys know that when Ethan and I started the Grind Hard channel, I lived in his treehouse? The bed isn't made right now, but we uploaded all of our first videos right here on the front porch with the hotspot on our phones because Starlink didn't exist yet. So the world has come a long way since we first started, and so has the world of portable protein. I'm talking 10 grams of protein per stick, 0 sugar, none of their animals are treated with hormones or antibiotics or any of that nasty stuff, which makes this the perfect snack. You guys have to try this out. It is the perfect travel snack, the perfect thing to bring with you while you're dirt biking. You can be healthy, have your energy boost, and not have any crash from any of that nasty stuff that is in a lot of other snacks. So check out the link in my description. It really supports me and the channel being able to make more awesome videos like this. So I can't thank you guys enough. Definitely check out Chomps, and let's see what Ethan thinks about this bike and see what it can do on the property. So here's the interesting bit of new information here.
Oh, new information?
Yeah. Like as you could see, inverted forks.
Yeah.
Like good brakes.
Yep.
Not the comfiest of seats, but overall a unit for $1,000, right?
Right.
It's $700 now.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So you paid $300 too much for this?
Yep.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just gonna carry my bike around. Does it have like a key somewhere?
Yeah, it does have a key.
That's
actually.
really dumb.
It has a key.
My 09 Hussaberg that I just bought does not even have a key.
And it has a choke.
Nice.
And I probably turned the fuel off, yep.
Good call. Wow, that is geared really low.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that more power is a word or phrase that could be used to describe this, but yeah, I mean, it's a fun little rip around. It'd be great for like taking to like Sturgis or Gambler or somewhere where you want to just putz around camp.
Yeah, just a pit bike.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect for that. Yeah, I mean, for $700, how could you really go wrong?
I mean, used 110s cost what they cost new, which is over $3K.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, the fork feels great. It just needs a new shock in the rear, which you can put just about anything on there.
Loading up for some riding in the woods afterwards. Got my camera, water, extra gloves, my favorite flavor right here, and we are good to play around in the woods. See how we do on some of the obstacles around Ethan's property. Do a lap around the rally track, starting here, and then we'll do the enduro loop, which will be really hard this time of year. Oh man, it's gonna be so slippery. But these tires are surprisingly good. Tires in general are getting a lot better on China bikes. Normally it's like the tires that used to come on factory Surons are such a joke. And I actually haven't gotten a Suron since like the OG, so. Man, you can hear her just not liking the cold one bit. I wonder if the choke is like, oh, yeah. The choke was on for sure. All right. Time for the alternate loop, tabletop jump. See if we can't clear it. Third gear, full throttle. Okay, maybe not. Going to first, get a little engine braking. The downhill part is probably going to be a little sketch. Oh, not too bad. A little water crossing, let's go into second. It is a bummer that it's an auto clutch because when you're down on power, it is nice to hold it in, get up in the revs and let her go for a climb like that. But hey, made it up without even putting a foot down. Gotta give it another shot. The choke was on. That was just a little warm up. I wanted to show Ethan the bike on his property before there was too much snow. So now things get real. We have both bikes. We're loading them up to go hit some serious terrain and see how different they really are. It really looks to me, side by side, the more expensive bike is significantly larger than its cheaper version. I think they have the same exact swing arm, same frame, same engine, but this one obviously has the gearbox because it can shift. But besides that, I mean, shoot, bigger forks, bigger wheels and tires, bigger brakes, bigger seat, bigger plastics. I mean, these are completely different bikes. When I was on TEMU, I honestly thought that the only difference was the automatic gearbox. We ended up with a surprisingly nice sunny day to go riding. Time to see just how much fuel these things take and if they take different amounts of fuel. Looking at 2.4 gallons for the big bike. And onto the little guy, it's just 1.6. I did splash a little bit on both, but it would seem like the bigger bike has a bigger tank, which I guess makes sense because all the plastics are different. So, wow. Before I hit the next trailhead, one thought to me occurred. Didn't actually check if these things came with oil. This is our last opportunity to buy oil if they need it. And would you look at that? Came with oil. We'll break it in on the trails today, hit an oil change. Also, how funny is it that even this little tiny bike is just long enough to not be able to close the tailgate. I absolutely love this little truck though. I'll make a video on it soon. See, this thing does have a choke. Nice. So I haven't been here for so long because they were logging. The logging's done. They started rebuilding the trails. I have no idea what to expect. We should be able to peek out and see the lake earlier now that the trees are gone, but it is kind of sad. This used to be like the entrance to the course was like a really tight wooded area. Really special, but I'm hoping it'll grow back and the trail builders do a good job rebuilding it because I know some of the guys who built these trails and it's state land and it's gonna happen, but for the guys who just spent years and years building these trails, it was sad to see. Dirt bikes, hiking, mountain bikes, and horses. You'd think none of these things really mix, especially horses and dirt bikes. But yeah. Looks like there's a whole lot of trails that are open, so we're just gonna send it and see where we end up, starting with the small bike, working up to the big bike. It's an automatic. Forgot it was an automatic. I'm expecting suspension to be pretty soft. Oh yeah, I should have put the big bars on this one. Wow. Definitely has some get up and go for a little bike. She's not even warm yet. Quite a bit of torque. Wow, the trail is completely different than it once was. I'll full throttle, but I'm a lot bigger than its intended rider. The brakes are locked in, honestly, even with my weight on it. 180 pounds. And this thing just trundles. Makes me extra excited for the same engine with gears. Bigger tires, you can hear the ground clearance. bit of an issue. Let me make sure nothing's just dragging or anything. Oh. We lost our kickstand spring. So I guess ground clearance isn't an issue, just me not checking if the spring was attached is our issue. Well, if it was gonna happen, happening in a place where we can still see the truck is the definite move. I should really pack zip ties with me. That'd be smart. That's a little bit of weight reduced. Wait, does this say what I think it says? Apply throttle gradually from standing position. If full throttle is applied from standing starting position, the front wheel of the motorcycle can raise up, causing you to be thrown off the motorcycle. I think that's lawyer speak for this bike has enough power to do wheelies. It sure does. Let's warm it up before we try that, huh? Oh, yes! I love that for this bike. Enough power to do wheelies. Well, it wasn't a ground clearance issue, it was just a other kind of issue. Oh yeah! Definitely has the wheelie power, even with the automatic. And I like having the brake on the bar too. I think it's probably also easier for kids learning. They can stay on the balls of their feet more. That's what I like about Zurons and stuff. Alright, let's rip. Honestly, I thought I'd be bottoming out the suspension like crazy. But nope, I'm not. If this thing lasts a decent amount of time, longevity-wise, that is quite the bargain for 730 bucks. Oh yeah, even with that front little tire, I've hit these bumps pretty hard, not even bottoming out. Really surprised about that. Awesome. Wow, this is all so different. Also, you can see the lake way more than you used to be able to. Time to address the elephant in the room, or in this case, the 2-meter tall man on a children's bike. This bike is not meant for me, but I did have a lot of fun with it, and I was really impressed that the power and automatic transmission had enough get up and go to move me up this hill at all. What a trooper! Oh. So much better tires than I could have imagined. This thing is pretty sick, man. This thing is proven its worth in my book. But before we get to the more expert level trails, I want to have the ground clearance and the taller bars. My arms are already a little bit pumped. But if you were looking for a bike for a child, this would be the one. And we'll see when we get to the bigger bike. Might be the best bang for your buck on a brand new bike I've ever seen, if this other bike is as good as I think it is. And that's why I experiment and make these videos. On the TEMU listing, whoo, do we go for it? Oh, we're gonna give that another go. But on the TEMU listing, it seemed like the major difference was the automatic transmission, which the fork size and tire size I think is a bigger deal than that. That's why I make these videos, so we know. All right, this is gonna be a momentum-based challenge on the wet rock. Oh yeah. Thing has a real skid plate too, believe it or not. Which is why we've survived so long. Chased it a little bit. We get used to that. This is exciting. I'm glad I got it. Very cool for what it is. The rear shock at a glance seems to be much bigger. This is at more of an extreme angle than here. So you're getting ground clearance from the suspension being taller and the wheels and tires being taller. It's a pretty big difference. I'm so excited to test this thing out. I built it forever ago. It's just been sitting in my garage staring at me, wanting to be tried out. And the weather has been terrible, just super pouring rain. Not good conditions for filming a video or giving something an honest review. Because if it's just totally pouring rain on these small tires, I mean, you know, that's a physics problem at no fault to the bike. I just want to see if it's good or not. Because yeah, you could buy like a $4,000 Cowie 110, but it's $4,000. And the crazy thing about the pit bike market is they're pretty much worth that used too. So you're spending all this money and not getting a whole lot for it, to be honest. So to me, when I saw this for $1,000, oh yeah, that's more size for an adult. Oh, first gear is low. Dang. Oh yeah. Okay, to answer my previous question, even more torquey. I think second is going to be the wheelie gear. Is that third? Choke on. No wonder why it was running so terribly. Now we're off to the races. That's second. Wow, the suspension feels great actually. Oh yeah, we are flying. The gearing on this makes it substantially faster. You can only get so much with those automatic transmissions. And I like shifting, it's just more fun. Whoa, it is slippery out here. Almost took her down. Way more comfortable to ride sitting down on this bike. The seat's also bigger, but really just the ground clearance, not worrying about the bumps. Here's our big rocky obstacle. Should go through it with ease. Yes, that we can. All right, this thing's a sender. Let's do, I think this trail, at least, if it's similar to what it was before, see if it starts in gear. This trail is a little more challenging. Gotta turn up the idle screw so it idles better, that's all that's about. Oh yeah! This thing is unstoppable in first. Oh, again. We lost the kickstand. No. We just got to where it starts to get fun. Can I find a way to repurpose this? No. Dang it. Maybe if we just give it a little more friction. What's that? We break this, and then we'll just tie it up. Let's get out of the road just in case some mountain bikers come by. If it were dry and I didn't feel my kickstand go, I would have flown right up that. First gear on this thing is just a mountain goat gear. Look at this. I'm very much impressed by that. For a second. Kickstand dragged a little bit, knocked us sideways. You just downshift to that wonder gear that she eats. This is seriously so steep. Like, this is hard to get up on a stock Sur-Ron. Here we are. My favorite part of my favorite trail is still here. Nothing like wet rocks on the edge of a cliff. Yes, sir, this thing is a shredder. Look at that. That is just something else. I mean, for 1,000 bucks, if the only problem is the spring for the kickstand, we are looking pretty. But we just got started. Let's really put this thing through the gears, put it on the rev limiter, and see what it can do. I just always have to stop here for a few photos, because, you know. We familiarized ourselves with the bike. I'm gonna see if I have anything in my backpack to hold up that kickstand, then we are going to hit it. This is the easiest part of the trail. We're about to get to some wide open spaces, see if we can't get a top speed on the thing and do some more serious hill climbs, but with better run up, so I think we'll have better luck at it. Here I am messing around with rubber bands while I'm wearing this belt that is a rock climbing chalk bag belt, but what I think is it will make for a significantly better kickstand holder than a rubber band. How could that go wrong, right? Here we go. Let's rip. Feels good so far. And if there is a trail to test suspension, this is the one. Got a bunch of big rocks sticking out in the middle of the trail. So I have ridden one of the 125cc Grom clones from Amazon, and those have nowhere near the power of this unit. They probably have a higher top speed the way they're geared, but I even geared one down, put it on knobbies, and this, I mean, forget about it, suspension wise, this totally takes the cake. And this is $1,000 with shipping, which makes it cheaper than the Honda clone by a landslide. And for off-road use, there's just way more to offer here. There's this really cool, really fast whoop section here, but I want to see if it still exists. Uphill, top speed run. Definitely not as fast as the Sur-Ron. Here we go. Wow, look at that brush pile. That's wide open in fourth. Slightly uphill. Say we're going 30-ish. This is what I was kind of worried what would happen after the clear cut came through. Trees casting so much shade that the weeds can't grow. We have big branches and logs all over the trail. But this thing's just cooking right through it, honestly. Mountain goat gear for the win. I've driven the new Cowie 110 XL. That's a slightly larger one with the clutch. Yeah, this trail's just destroyed. And that one maybe has a little bit of a comfier seat, but didn't have this low of gearing. This thing just drops down and sends. Man, it's gonna take a couple years for them to rebuild. Wow, it's idling just fine. That's pretty wild. No carb tuning whatsoever. Who knows what elevation this was tuned to. Let's see how we do. Rider. I'm having great fun out here. So far, gotta say, incredibly impressed with the suspension and the brakes, which is really good. I just really like kind of slower, sillier bikes. I just have so much fun with them. I don't know what it is. It's just like you get this intense feeling going so fast on something that's like so slow. Like you can get to the edge of your traction and the bike's ability without being that great of a rider or like risking life and limb. Like if you're out here on like a nice fast bike that's just built for your size and specifications, you'd have to go really hard to get to the limit of your bike. And there's something about just with the limit lower, you're riding on the limit, and that's how it is for me. If I'm riding on the limit, I'm having a really good time. And with this thing, basically riding on the limit the whole time, which puts a big smile on my face. So I'm gonna set the camera down so you can see some of these rock sections. And yeah, I'm excited to see how much the suspension's traveling, because surprisingly, even going full throttle hitting those rocks, we haven't bottomed out the suspension yet. Alright, I'm gonna put this back on my helmet and pick out a better mount when I get home. But just to show you guys what we're going up and down is pretty rough, especially for a low clearance machine. You hit something, you lose your speed, and then it's really hard to keep going. So the fact that this thing is really telling. Like right here, this type of trail or a little pit bike track, that's where I'm gonna really enjoy this thing the most. The stabilization's off on my GoPro, so it should be pretty accurate representation. I think with all these kind of low-cost bike reviews, oh, here we go, gotta focus for a second. Nice! I'm actually gonna go get that one at the camcorder, it's worth it. But with all these low-cost bike reviews, I'm actually gonna do a bit where I show how they held up for their first 100 miles. Really, I'm just goofing off here, but I did notice on my last bike review some people bought the bike, so I want to make sure that I'm presenting them honestly. I don't want you guys to be out some money because something started off great and then lost its, you know, suspension went out really quickly or something like that, you know. So I want to do videos that are kind of like I did with my e-foil, where it was like the first 2 years of having the Alibaba e-foil kind of a thing. But for this would be like the first month, the first 100 miles on the world's cheapest pit bike, something like that. Let's see. Okay. That's nice. Speed run time. Put your guesses in the comments. I'm guessing like 42. can't hear me very well, but right here what I'm talking about is just slamming gears. It's something that you really miss out on the electric bikes, and it's something that's so much fun and such a good way to know how fast you're going before a jump or something like that. And I also drove the Grindhard Mad Max Tesla for like 2 years. And then even just getting my automatic Maverick, like, I don't know, there's something about you just pull up on the road, floor it, and you just hear it shifting through the gears. And the Maverick's not a slow truck, it's turboed, it's fun. I'm gonna do a video about it soon, but there's just something that you miss with the whole electric thing. And don't get me wrong, I mean, it's hard to beat a Model 3 as a commuter, but are you gonna like go for a drive around the lake on purpose just for the sake of driving in that car? Maybe, but I never did. And when I had my manual BMW, I did that weekly, at least. So it's just a big difference in this kind of thing. And if you haven't driven one in a while, sometimes you just forget.
The tire's still cooking for me, sliding on the street a little bit. Immediate first impressions, that's a whole lot of brakes and suspension. Pretty good tires as well for $1,000. That's a crazy good bang for your buck. Something that's a little uncomfortable. Do you see how the seat kind of like goes down here? I feel like if it just maintained the steepness, it'd be a little more comfortable. But at this price point, you can't be nitpicky. You can't compare it to other bikes because it's just so much cheaper than other bikes. Has enough power to get me up this hill, but is it a single track machine? I don't think so. It wouldn't be my first choice going out for single track, but a little dirt bike track, pit bike track, anything you'd want to do on a pit bike. I mean, obviously that's what this is intended to be, a cheaper 110, and that is exactly what it is. You get a couple, you could buy 4 of these for the price of 1 Cowie and then have fun with all your friends, have spare parts for the other bikes. Flip off the fuel, go get them cleaned up, do an oil change, and see how they perform in the long run, because that's really what's important. And if you can buy parts for them as I break things, that'll be also interesting to see. But so far, my luck with these bikes has been insane.
I wanted to let you guys know, just in case you don't follow Grindhard, we are actually giving away this Tacoma and this Go Fast camper on grindhardplumbingco.com. It's one of those things where every $5 you spend on merch gets you an entry to win, and figured I'd let you guys in on the pie just in case, you know, there's people who follow me that don't follow the main channel. So definitely check that out. It's an insanely nice truck, 2024, locking rear diff, very fun car. Now let's go surprise Steven.
So my friend Steven eats more meat sticks than anyone you could imagine. He probably has like 3-4 a day. So I'm gonna sneak in and surprise him and give him all of these.
You're the first person I thought of, man.
Yeah?
You eat more snacks than anyone I know in my whole life.
Yeah, that's true.
So I want to give you these and see what you think.
Oh, dude, I love these. Got the jalapeno, the originals. Grass-fed beef, no crustaceans. What more can you ask for?